your life at peak impact.
Okay.
You've achieved everything.
Okay.
Draw your impact
My
at that point.
impact.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Describe what we're looking at.
Okay. So what I showed you, this is the Earth, right? And it's
Hmm?
like a graph.
Yeah.
I have, like how you said in the beginning, that you're mixing psychology in a way with branding and so on.
Hmm.
I have some very hardened opinions about we as people,
Hmm.
like we as humans. And I believe if I have all the influence and power and whatever that I have all the resources I can use to achieve something, I would want to, in a way, you know how ads know a lot about us,
Hmm.
like what we buy, what we want, what we like, and so on. I want to create a platform like this that can be publicly accessible. Like I want to be able to understand people in a way at scale.
Hmm.
Imagine we all as human beings, all the data that we are inputting in the internet. Now, the ad providers, they have like this data, they know a lot about us. But what if we as common folks can have access to this data and see how we all as like a species look from outside?
So it's like open source human data, basically.
Yes.
Like an
Yes.
API endpoint to get like.
Be it an API endpoint or like a platform or whatever, I just want to be able to get all these data and look at it and be able to confirm what I think for us as species. Is it true or is it not? I want to be able to look at this human analytics. I also have a domain called Humalytics that I'm never going to sell because one day I want to make this.
Okay, let's unpack it a little bit. What's so fascinating about that? Like, what do you like? Give me some use cases, right?
Well, it's completely what's the word? Egoistic. I mean, I don't. This idea is not something that I want to make money of. This is something that I want for me. Where it's coming from, as I said, I believe this might sound a little bad or controversial, I don't know, but I believe a lot of us as people are very predictable. And I think we are very like transparent, at least a big number of us. And I think different people fall into different archetypes.
Mhm.
And when I meet 10 people, for example, if I can talk with them for 2 hours, I might easily put them in an archetype, which sounds very bad if you think about it, because we are all unique and we are all different. But I don't think we are that different, actually.
Mhm.
And I want to have like all these data so I can confirm, am I correct or am I not?
Okay, let's say you're correct. I'm gonna ask both questions. I'm gonna ask first if you're correct, and then if you're not correct, right? So
Yeah.
if you're correct, then what happens?
Are you asking me what I would do with data or how I would feel or what exactly?
What is the best thing you can do with the data?
Well, define best because I might do bad things as well.
Let's take both. Like let's say most value creation and most value destruction.
Yeah. Um, well, let's not think about value, but what I would want to do when I have all of this data, I would probably um, uh, like I will go through this data and I will constantly be making like data checks, and let's say that I'm correct about this, we are not so unique, and so on, what will happen then? I don't know, I would probably start some research group and try to understand why this is the case. And maybe I want answers. The first answer that I want is, are we unique?
Mm-hmm.
We have yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
If we have yes, we are unique, how are we unique? And then if we are so unique, why did I feel we are not that unique? Okay, that it may be some personal stuff inside my head, but then I would want an answer for that. And if we are not unique, I would want to know, why are we not unique?
Mm-hmm. But let's think about it from a value creation perspective.
Just one more
Mm-hmm.
thing. This is related to value creation. Imagine we have all this data, and then we would probably be able to understand why certain group of people are doing certain things. Like, let's say that a riot happens in a country and they try to overthrow the government. Why does that happen? What are the like the the what's the word? What are the things that connect all those people who tried to make the riot? And if we have that data, okay, sure, can we prevent it? Why are so many people sad, for example, and why are so many people, not having good lives? We can have this data, we can compare what is connecting them, and then we can maybe understand and try to find a solution for this.
So like psychological patterns, like you want to identify psychological patterns and then use that to prevent catastrophic or violent outcomes.
I
Or
still don't know what I want to do. I mean, those are some ideas, but I might as well just go full on villain mode. I don't know, and exploit this just like the ad companies are doing. I mean,
but let's explore that. Let's explore that. Let's say you can identify psychological patterns. Like you can see,
okay,
you have the data to be able to identify psychological patterns, and then you can find the statistics, right? There's
yeah.
whatever 1,000 people that think like this, 10,000 people that think like that, whatever. Like, what would you want to do with that data?
Right now, I just want to know it. I just want to be able
Curiosity.
to.
That's it. That's what drives you.
Curiosity. Yes, curiosity is everything right now. I don't have any higher motivation behind this.
Yeah, it's very fascinating because there's so much you can do with the data, right?
Ultimately, right now, my highest want for this is just for my own being.
I like, yeah, and do you like reading? Like, are you fascinated by this? Because there's a lot of like Nietzsche, Jung, all these people. Like, do you read those psychologists, the people that have taken this path of curiosity?
I like reading. Recently, I started reading more. What I think about those people, though, is that they assume. I
Mm.
mean, sure, they are trying to prove something, but it's still an assumption. It's not a hard on, this is the data, this is happening because of this. Because what was the name of the guy that is very sexual and stuff?
Freud.
Sigmund Freud,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, most of his work, it's an assumption, man. And
Yeah, so it's hypotheses. They haven't been proven.
yes,
Like
exactly. And I want,
Alfred Adler, same thing.
yes, and he didn't have the data. It's just based on his understanding of human psychology. But imagine what we can do if we can get the whole globe, all
Mm,
their actions. Then it's not that much of an assumption. We will have, okay, 99% of the times those types of people are doing those things.
yeah, so it's more like behavioral economics type.
Yes, exactly. Behavioral economics. This describes it perfectly.
Yeah, because that's kind of the frontier of psychology, is behavioral economics, and like,
Yep.
the thinking fast and slow guy, I forget his name. Uh, but all of this stuff. So you want to maybe build a system that is able to collect the data to come up with data-backed psychological patterns instead of like hypothesis, or maybe like observational data. You want to turn it into hard data.
Yes, exactly. And I think big social media are already doing this, because if you take Mark Zuckerberg, for example, he had a rebrand recently, right? And he had this rebrand while at the same time that we all started getting um, a lot more content about masculinity and combat sports and gym and so on happened, and then he did the rebrand. I think he knew that the general public perception of the world is moving more to the right, and that's why he did this rebrand. So he had the data, uh, and imagine um, imagine what power this person has, and also imagine, is our free will actually free? Because I remember when I started doing combat sports year and a half, 2 years ago or three, and out of nowhere everybody else did as well. And I felt like I like this and I'm doing this because I want, but then everybody else also does. We are all making products, we're all pushing for something, but we are all doing the same things in a way.
And that frightens you, or like you feel like you want more control over that.
It doesn't frighten me. I feel I have a lot more control over this since like 1 year ago, for example. But I want to understand this, and I want to know: is this true, or is this just a conspiracy theory, for example?
But
And also,
conspiracy theory might be a very negative brush stroke on it, because it's like, is it conspiracy theory or is it reality, right?
yeah. No, I think it's reality, but I'm not sure. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's an assumption, but it's like, you know, conspiracy theory has embedded in it this kind of like instant rejection, right? In it, where it's like, but you know, I think it's a very interesting point. I like that this idea that Mark Zuckerberg had like a data-driven rebrand. Yeah, it's
And if you think about it, Elon also moved to the right. The world, the political winds are moving more to the right, and all the tech leaders, just the big tech leaders, understood this, because Elon was far left. Far left. He was more left oriented a few years ago, but right now, Mark looks more right leaning. Musk looks more right leaning. The general public just is more to the right, in my opinion.
yeah, it's great. I like this. Let's just let that sit a little bit in our mental space and move on
Yeah.
to the next question, to kind of like get some sort of contrast going in kind of your psychology. And it's like, what is your proudest moment in your life, in your history?
My proudest moment, I would say, is when I dropped out of university, came back, and I had like my whole social network then, like all the people that I knew were like not a good influence. Everyone that I knew. And I somehow managed to get outside of this network and meet new people at work, like find a job, make friends with those new people, and just ditched everyone from my old life which was, in my opinion, very hard, because it was like 6 months or a year where your whole life changes and you're trying to leave your past self behind, but your past self is still with you.
Mm.
And then you're trying to be you're trying to make new connections with new people, and you want those new people to look at you as a new person, but your headspace is still in your past self.
Mm.
And going through this metamorphosis, I think, is and succeeding going through it is what I'm mostly proud of. I was very close to fucking up my whole life, let's say, and I didn't fuck it up, and
Yeah,
got out, like, moved forward.
that's amazing, bro. Like, it's very similar to like my experience. But what about like when did that pride hit you? Like that emotion, like was there a moment of reflection when you were like, first of all, what caused that trajectory, like that shift? Uh, let's talk about that first. Like, what was the moment when you were like, this sucks, these people suck. If I stay here, I'm gonna probably end up as a loser, and not accomplish anything I want to accomplish. Like, when did that moment hit you?
Okay, so it's like, in steps. The first time that I started getting a realization was when I had a friend who so something happened with a friend of mine, and I started feeling very bad, and then my headspace was in a very bad spot, and I
Mm.
felt awful, and I felt awful for a day, for a week, for a month, constantly, 24 hours a day. I was feeling awful, and I was feeling like I'm living in hell, and I can't get out of this hell. I have to do something to stop feeling this way and thinking those thoughts and having like all those mental reactions to what's happening.
Mhm.
And I then took some actions,
Mhm.
and those thoughts stopped for a while. But my actions continued, like the old actions continued, and then I understood, like, my old actions are what is triggering those thoughts. I have to stop doing my old actions. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. I have to find a way to stop doing this. Oh, well, how can I stop doing this if all the people around me are doing all those things, and I'm connecting to those people, and I feel like I'm like those people? I have to
Mhm.
find new people. And then I applied for jobs. I got my first job, and then I met those new guys. And
Mhm.
Bobby, he's actually a friend of mine, very deep friend of mine, like very close friend of mine right now. But he was my first team leader, and I saw him, and I saw how he communicates, how he thinks, how good he is, how grounded he is. And I was like, oh wow, this is it. I want to be like this person. I don't want to be with those fuckers anymore. And
Yeah.
because those were the cool guys, but this boring guy Bobby is actually so much better than all of them combined. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I want to be like this guy.
Hell yeah. So you found like you identified the kind of, hey,
I identified with one group of people, but I saw another group of people, and I wanted to
yeah,
start identifying.
it sounds great because you were like, this is wrong, but I don't know what's what's right. But then you found that dude who was like, hey, this dude, I feel comfortable around him. I feel calm around him.
I
I'm
feel motivated. I feel the need for life, for prosperity. Yes.
And then you started that shift, and then you know you did you kind of cut them off. And then when did it hit you that I made the right decision?
I didn't completely cut them off, but with
Mm.
time, uh, like, let's say I cut them off 85%, but there were still 15%. Every time I went out with those people again, I felt like, okay, I don't feel the need to go out with them anymore that much.
Mhm.
And the exact moment, I think that I know what you're talking about. The exact moment of like, okay, this is good now, or I understand now what happened a few years ago. Maybe it was on my second job, I think.
So it was like your first big win after your first job. Like you're like, hey, I'm starting to win bigger.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So the first time I started feeling like I'm winning bigger was when I got part of the DigitalOcean private channel, because I was answering questions for them and they recognized me. And then I felt, okay, my work, like answering questions to other people in the community, triggered someone from this big corporation that I like to notice me, invite me in their private channel. And then I got some contracting opportunities for them. I started getting money for writing articles, for example, or working in the marketing department. And then me and Bobby won a hackathon, and all those little wins just showed me, okay, my work, I'm doing something, I'm getting rewarded. The possibilities are endless. I'm not gonna go and do it every day now.
I love it. That's great. Do you have a second proudest moment?
I feel like there are some proud moments that I have, like my first blog post blowing up on Dev 2, or winning the hackathon, or getting my second job. Because it's a funny story, actually. I told my manager, like, I was 1 year as a system administrator. I was working 1 year as a system administrator, and then I just decided that I want a higher salary, but I didn't know how negotiations work back then. And I said to my manager, hey man, I have an offer for 2 times this pay, two times and a half. And he was like, okay, take it. And I was like, okay, I will. And I went back home and I was thinking, I don't have an offer. What the fuck? And I started applying for jobs. I crafted
That's
my
so funny.
resume, and then I actually found a job as a junior DevOps engineer at the time, and that was very. I was very proud of this. I managed to up my salary, change my job title, like
Yeah.
Then I was working for this company. I was working for a customer through them. They were paying me very little money. I said, okay, I'm leaving, but I had 2 months like to those leave periods. And I said, I'm not doing the 2 months. I left, and I came back to the same customer like 6 times more, on a 6 times more salary, just through a different company. This is also a proud moment. I have a
That's
lot of
awesome.
those in my
Yeah.
career.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them actually connect to my career. 90% of my proudest moments are related to tech and my career.
Amazing, bro. And what's your story? If you're gonna define a story,
What do you mean?
the story of Dennis.
Ooh, well, let's say the story of Dennis is of a person who always managed to come on top of whatever happened, and always managed to find a way to make a decision be right.
So it's a story of overcoming obstacles and a story of uh, faith in decisions, or what's the decision making?
The decision making, I think, okay, so my environment, let's say my environment, both at home and my social environment, was not as good, and I was very good at like creating patterns and recognizing those patterns, and I think this is what helped me navigate through those um, through those phases, let's say.
Yeah, it's like almost like a superpower of like detachment, like
Yes, exactly.
where you can recognize and identify the pattern and then take yourself out of it and make like
Yes,
decisions.
and you get examples by how people live around you, and I think it takes a lot of willpower to live your life on anti-example. Like you get the example, but you can process it and you can say, okay, this is not good, and you do the opposite.
Like, did you always have ambition? Like, what was your ambition
No,
space? Like, yeah,
yeah, no. I was playing a lot of games, and I was very competitive when I was playing games. I don't know if this translates to like drive, but when I got through that 1 year of like I'm feeling like I'm living hell on earth, when I got outside of this mental space, like I couldn't go back there. And this is
yeah.
when my ambition kicked. And I got addicted to achieving things.
Hmm. But is it like achievement? Okay, achievement. I want to get better. I want to be a better like
I
like
think it
DevOps
also,
engineer or engineer in general.
I think,
But
let's talk about psychology a bit. I think that having such low self-confidence or whatever self-perception for a long time triggered this reaction of, okay, like the defensive mechanism is I'm actually good. And the moment I get a validation for something, like I think I'm good at this and I get validation, and it ups this narcissistic part of myself, I think. And this is what drives me to do more and more and more. I want to prove to myself I can do more, I can do this.
it's not narcissism if it's objective evidence. Like if you think you're great and you have no evidence of you being great.
Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I don't have evidence and I feel like I'm better than someone or I'm great at something. And
But it's
yeah,
but you're saying I then have to go achieve the achievement or create the evidence.
yeah,
And that's helpful, I think, to say I'm better than what, let's say even like we'll play to the narcissism part, right? Like let's say I'm better than Elon Musk at building businesses. That's how you think, right? You can think that as long as you're planning on generating the evidence to prove that. You know what I mean?
maybe a slight change in this. Can't I think this when I had already proven it? Not if I'm planning to prove it, but when I had managed to prove it.
If you prove it, yeah, then the evidence speaks for itself.
Yeah, but there is evidence. And while I'm trying to prove it, for example, if I still feel this way, is it fine? Is it healthy?
I think, yeah, I think that's what drives you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But if you just say, "Oh, I'm better," and you don't prove it, and you're not
yeah,
generating, then you're delusional.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
You know
get
what I
it.
mean?
Yeah,
And it's this kind of trade-off between like sometimes a lot of people talk shit, like they talk like they're better, and that's
yep,
kind of like the Conor McGregor,
yep,
where he's talking a big game before he proves it, and then he proves it.
yeah.
That makes for a better story.
Oh,
Uh,
but that's a high bet because imagine you can't prove it. What happens then?
yeah,
Hard to recover.
it's hard to recover. Yeah, but but that being silent and having your work speak for itself is usually the best.
Yes, and I find it hard recently with X and social media to be silent and let work speak for itself.
How come? Like you have trouble separating the exercise of getting influence and attention and your
Yes, yes,
personal
yes,
mental
I like
space?
attention, man. I thought I don't like attention, but I like
Mhm.
it. And I'm honest, it's fucking addicting, man.
It is, but the content, you feel like you have no control of what to talk about.
No, I felt like this in a few instances where I caught myself posting something, for example, because I wanted to like generate a reaction through people.
Hmm.
But it was only a few occasions.
Hmm.
And when this happens, I'm like, oh, whoa, shit, okay, I gotta step back.
Yeah. Um, what are your superpowers?
I think pattern recognition is my biggest superpower.
Yeah. because we already talked about it, so I was just making sure. So,
And actually,
mhm.
actually, I think I'm not entirely sure, but I think that I'm very good at breaking down concepts into smaller bits. Like, mm, the so-called first principles thinking. I think I'm good at this. And this combined with pattern recognition sets the ground for a very, very precious mind. I like my mind, actually.
That's good. I love it. Being proud of the mind you've built, right? Because you're like, I've been in this like dark, shitty space, and I was like, nah, and you broke it, and it's such a beautiful feeling. I feel you. It's great, bro. And this is like where the workshop usually shifts into like a business, right? But like you seem like you're just curious, right? You're not committing to a business direction, or are you? Like what's your thinking about that? Like who do you want to serve uh in life in general,
Yeah.
right? Because that's a good way to start thinking about businesses. It's like who am I serving?
Yeah. First of all, I want to serve myself. But
Mhm.
if there is a way that I can, first of all, we all know this. We don't want to work for someone else. We want to work for ourselves. But then we're working for our customers. If there is a way to work for myself and not work for my customers, like don't have to comply with trends, but actually manage to build a brand around myself that can help me monetize my businesses or audience or my mind. I mean, that would be perfect. And I have like one business idea of like it's a combination of products, but then I have also the idea of building a brand for myself and monetizing my audience, you know.
Mhm. But even that uh, is better approached in a do you want to serve people like yourself? Like is that because you have to understand the we, like who are we, right?
Yeah.
Like who am I
Well,
a part of? What is the community I'm a part of? And do I want to serve that community? Or, you know,
mm, so the very first thing that popped to my mind, I don't know if this relates, but someone helped me once, right? With tech. Bobby helped me get in tech, and then he helped me get better in tech, and he helped me change my life. And now, whenever someone wants to get in tech here in Bulgaria, I'm helping them. And I managed to do this with like 10 people. And this is something that I do for someone, or we the people that need help getting in tech and changing our lives, because I believe tech changes lives. This is the first we that I have.
okay.
And then it's all like, if I gotta be honest, all my business ideas are completely based on curiosity. I have a theory and I want to prove it.
But still, understanding the we will help you prove it better. Like just pure like villain mode, like you said, right? If you want to think about how do I get the most attention or the most um yeah, attention is the best word. How do I get the most attention for something, right? It's understanding who identifies with that idea. And when you understand that persona in at a deep level, like you understand yourself
Yeah,
at a deep level, right? You can now listen in on their pain and then try to relieve that pain because most people have engaged with everything because there's a pain,
yeah,
and there's a promise of relief for
yeah.
that pain.
Mm.
And without that empathetic understanding,
Mm.
there's you're handicapping yourself
This
tremendously.
makes a lot of sense, actually. I'm making the analogy with ship fast and nomads list, nomad list.
Hmm.
Like ship fast, for example, I am struggling to ship fast, and now you're helping me get this going, and I can make whatever I want. And nomads list, I am struggling being a nomad. I don't know where to go. I don't know these countries, and you're helping me with this community and this website with all this information that I need. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Tinder as well. I am struggling finding love. You are promising me I will find love. Yeah.
Hmm. Exactly. So when you think like that, right, and you think about who whose pains do you understand the most, basically,
Mm.
and that can be as mundane as like you
Yeah.
know people with who need to satisfy their caffeine in the morning, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And trading beautifully crafted cup of coffee for them in the morning that has the level of caffeine that I need or like they need, that
Yeah.
satisfies them, and they're like, this is great, it's part of my day now. Every morning I want to drink these, and and every product you own, you can think about it in that kind of
That's actually
framework.
huge. Yes, this is very nice because you get the idea of something. I can give the example with Alma Vitus, for example. It's an app that I want to
What's the name?
called Alma Vitus. It's an
I
app I'm
love it.
building, and it
Okay.
is about tracking moods for couples. I mean, you can do it alone, you can track your moods alone, but it's tracking moods for couples. And now that I think about it, what is the pain here? And I can't give you a quick answer. I mean, maybe the pain, like I want to know how my partner feels, but they don't want to talk to me, and Tamovitus might be a way for me to understand how they feel. Or I don't want to say it out loud, but I can use the app and just set it. Or,
Mm.
or maybe we don't know if we've been feeling well those last months, and we don't know, like we don't have the data. Amovitus is a great way to keep track of those things. But again, this is not something I thought of when I started doing it.
Hmm. And thinking about it, you can start engineering features
Yeah, exactly.
that
And
make,
copyright.
yeah, like for example, like with your idea, like couple moods, right? Like
Yeah,
when I'm trying to, like, let's say I'm an investor, I'm trying to think of holes of the product, right? I'm like,
yeah,
but what if someone doesn't want to log their mood, right? With the
yeah.
with the couples thing, you can kind of build a feature where this is what I think my partner's feeling,
Mm.
and then have your perception, her perception, and then the self-reported ones, and you can kind of, play around with those three sets of data, which is like self-reported of myself, and then the report what my partner thinks I feel,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And it's cool. Yeah.
It's a good question. Who are we?
Who are we? Yeah, I like that question. Yeah, who are we? Because it helps you think like, where's the community, right? Who's who am I building for?
Yeah,
Most people think, oh, I'm building to solve a problem, and it's like, yeah, no, not really.
yeah, yeah, and
No one
exactly.
cares about
Who
your
am I
solution.
making content for? Who is going to watch me? Is my content something that I want to see? If I see it, am I going to react to it?
Yeah, whose pain is it relieving? Is better to think about it, because even the content, right? Like the content that people novelty is has value in itself, right? Because it's like I'm bored and this
Yeah,
is novel and it's in my sphere, right? But yeah, well, uh, you want to get back to, you want to think about Alma Vitos as like this kind of thing, or do you want to keep freestyling in terms of just like value creation and how you like, do you think this is the best use of your time? Is
Let
this
me
more?
ask you, let me ask you something else about Almavitas, because
Yeah.
my, okay, I don't want to create value with Almavitas. I had an idea. I had a theory. Let's go back to the theory and proving the theory. My curiosity, let's say. I had a theory that, so how do I listen? There was a post someone made that they created an app, they stole content from TikTok and they plugged the app at the end. So they managed to like hack impressions by
Mhm.
TikTok by stealing content and adding the app, which led to a lot of downloads, which made a lot of sense to me because short form content and TikTok, um, like the content is already there. You can steal
Mhm.
it, right?
Mhm.
And then I thought, okay, can I make an application that connects to one of our um, core wants and needs in life, which is love, right? You want to be loved. You want your partner to think good of you. You want your partner to feel good, or you're scared that you're going to lose your partner, right? Love is a very big market. And then I'm using an app with my girlfriend called Agape,
Mhm.
which is answering questions. And I have never paid for an app on my phone. But with her, what happened is I paid for the app. Why did I pay for the app? I was thinking about this. Why did I pay? Because in the beginning, like when we were together, I wanted to make, like, I wanted to do things for her. I still want to do things
Mhm.
for her, but then I wanted to impress her in a way.
Mhm.
Agape, she really liked the app. We are answering a question every day, but we only had like two topics to answer from, and the topics like sex and all those
Mhm.
more interesting stuff were to be paid. I had to pay for those questions to appear, and I paid for the app. And I was like, why did I pay for this?
Yeah.
We're using it exactly 30 seconds every day. And I think that, like, that's why I'm calling it a social experiment or financial experiment. The financial experiment aspect of it is I'm going to try to hack the marketing by stealing content and plugging the app in the end.
Mhm.
And the social aspect of it is if I can make people pay for it, which is you are in a, like, in a relationship. If your girlfriend says, like, because men are a lot more likely to pay for it. If your girlfriend says, hey, this app is cool, I think there is a very high chance that this boyfriend that is in this relationship will want, in a way, to make her, um, like, to prove his love for her by paying for the app. And I think with good copyright, like good
Mhm.
copy, I can trigger this instant. Okay, I will buy this now. I
But this
don't.
is from an economic standpoint or like a business standpoint. Um, New behavior is much, much, much harder to sell than substituting existing behavior.
Expand.
So, how many times have you written your mood about your relationship during your relationship?
It's not only for the relationship, but how I'm feeling in general. When I was going to a psychologist, I had to do this every day. Now I am not.
Now you're not.
No.
And okay,
But
with the psychologist,
she's
she
doing it
is
every day. Yeah.
okay. Then she's a better target market, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's, it's easier to sell to her if she does that every day,
Yeah.
an app like that, and then she can teach the boyfriend on how to do it. You know.
Exactly. And that's because my girlfriend onboarded me to Agape. Like, I'm selling to her, she's showing the app to him. She shows how much she likes the app. He pays for it.
Exactly. but that's the thing. I just thought no one did this because I don't do this. My wife doesn't do this. You
Yeah.
know, like we're not in the target market. So like when you're marketing something like that, you want to think you you might think it's couples, but it's women who journal is a better target market. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because they already have this habit, this behavior is, or they're already participating in this behavior.
Yeah, but some friends, some guy friends as well, told me that they're journaling, like mood doing. So, but yeah, this makes sense.
You know what
Like
I
think
mean? So,
for my market.
but in business, when you want to think about markets and how big they are, you don't. What you're describing sounds to me like something not many people do, and it's not that,
Yeah.
so it's not a big market, and
No, but like if you connect the most, then I can add AI features to like summarize what's going on in the relationship as well, which is the love market again.
but still that behavior is not common.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like it's not about the value you can add. It's about the value you can add to existing behavior.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's the extra. It's tough to I feel like it's disappointing to hear. And I'm
No,
not
it's
trying
not.
to discourage you. I'm just trying to say that
I'm not
uh
discouraged because I don't have passion for this app at all. I'm doing it
yeah,
just to try something out. So my motivation lies in my curiosity if this works or not.
yeah.
So it's
Like chess, for example, glove chess.
uh,
I feel like there are much more people who are willing to make a move,
yeah,
in a chessboard
yeah,
than that, right? Because there's so many people playing chess.com, Lee Chess. What's one more app that has a different format to it, and
uh,
there's more community based,
yeah.
and like that, I think has a lot a lot of potential, and I was very disappointed the first time when you were like, oh, someone said this is not gonna work. I'm like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But then the second time when you're like, I'm just gonna shelve it, it's like a hobby or whatever, and I think you can make a lot of money with it,
With
with
glove
glove
chess.
chess. Yeah, I think if you take it seriously and it's fast and it's like the optimal experience and there's like a community aspect and all of this, like,
And what do you
yeah,
think about this? I'm going to share my screen.
yeah,
What I'm building now is, do you have Kindle?
yeah,
Yeah, and you know how you can highlight and put notes to it,
uh-huh.
and those directly connect to your Goodreads.
I don't have that whole flow set up, but yeah, I know
Yeah, exactly. This whole thing is hard to set up. But now, how many times have you shared, or how many times have you generated a thought out of reading something online?
probably zero.
Why?
uh, I don't like most of my thoughts are in my notes app.
No, no, yeah, but I mean, you read something and you think about something reading it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah, and you would open Notes app and you would get inspired to write something.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what I'm doing is a browser extension that you can highlight on page everywhere on the web, and it connects to your account, and you can then write notes to those highlights.
Hell yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, and
That's a great idea.
yeah, I know. That's why I was so pumped about it because I want the first idea that the first thing that I'm building that I need
Uh-huh.
because I want to do it. This is happening to me constantly, and
Yeah,
then
it's great.
given
And
all,
you can save all the highlights someplace because I don't even write notes on my highlights. I just review my highlights.
yeah, but
The
you can
notes are
write.
in my mind. It's just I need the highlight. Like for
Yeah,
example, I read a shit ton of books, right?
yeah,
And the way I revisit the book is I just go to the book and open the highlights and just read through the highlights, and it
yeah.
makes whatever, a 20-hour book into like a 20-minute read.
Yeah, this is just a POC. You can see the screenshot here.
Yeah.
Um, you're highlighting, and then you can add a note to it.
Horizon. Hell yeah. Perfect. Yeah, it's like Kindle. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it also directly, because it's synced with the database, you can write articles and you can connect like
Yeah, I'm
long,
not interested in that. Just the highlight part,
just highlight a note.
having all the highlight. Like for example, imagine you go to Paul Graham's website, right?
Yeah.
And all the essays, if you can just highlight the ones you like and then go on your whatever Horizon highlights and say
Yes.
paulgraham.com and see all your highlights on paulgraham.com.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
You can, and also when you highlight something, you can, if you click it, it directly scrolls to that place, and
Perfect.
it's very like it is very subtle, the highlight.
Yeah.
See, this is what shows on the page. You can almost not see it, but if I click, it becomes blue and it
Mm,
scrolls to there.
amazing. Yeah, bro. There we go. Let's do this. And I won't release the episode until you're ready to launch it, you know?
Yeah.
But let's stick to that then. That's a good business idea.
Yeah, and I have to stick to one thing and push it to the end.
This is the one.
Right? I'm feeling the same way, actually.
Yeah, this is the one, bro. Like
Right?
it's no brainer because like you're saying, you remember I told you like behavior that already happens.
Something that
I
I'm
already
already
do this.
doing.
If I'm
Exactly.
if I'm a Kindle user, I'm already used to this behavior.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're not inventing something new, like in terms of the behavior. You're just adapting the application to expand the usage, right?
And
So,
it has a social aspect.
but I'm telling, I'm not gonna be social with this. As
Oh,
as
you're
a
not
as a
okay.
person, there might be, there's people who do like the good reads and they like to share their notes and whatever. Definitely, but I'm telling you, as a solo player, this has tons of usage. Just as a curious person who wants to not have articles they like, but they can just put everything they read, just the highlights of them, in a central place. This is like game changer.
Yeah. And what you said, that there might be some people for this and that. What Theo actually says is you start with something small and then you expand. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I should release the current version of it, the extension, and then release the platform, and then release.
Yeah, exactly. But like the most complete product that is for a certain use case, right? Like for the solo use case, before you make it multiplayer, because that has more infrastructure and you got to do whatever sharing and being able to host it or whatever. But like the solo player version of it, if you can complete that and then release that, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. So let's get into it then. Then Horizon Highlights, right? Is the name of
Yeah,
the
it's
app.
Horizon. Yeah.
All right. And then who are you serving? Let's think about it.
I'm serving myself first and foremost. As I said, this is the first product that I'm building for myself. And who am I? I am a person who has too many Apple Notes, and it's very hard for me to like read something and I have to copy it. I have to open Apple Notes and I have to write a note on this, and I forget it. If I save it from my phone, I can't save it. Like online, I have to bookmark it, and it becomes to 50 bookmarks. So who am I serving? I don't know.
It's great. No, yeah, curious, basic curious readers, curious people,
Yeah,
curious people who
yeah,
read a lot.
yeah. Let's say yes, yes.
Uh, Yeah, curious people who read a lot. And then in that, you know, people who read a lot, right? Or curious people who read a lot. Uh, who are the extreme, or if you want to think about connoisseurs, right? Who are the connoisseurs of this space? Like, who do people look up to in terms of curious people who read a lot?
Hmm. Like, let's take me, for example, again. What's your question? Who do I look up to? What do you mean?
Like, who's your inspiration for somebody who reads a lot? Like, you're saying Peter Thiel a lot. Like, Peter Thiel is one of those people, right?
Yeah, I guess he reads a lot, yes.
But who do you think about when you think about that sort of behavior? Like, who would you think has a, a huge library of highlights, and they like look through their highlights?
Actually, let's maybe you can tell me the answer to this question. I can tell you how I like why I'm doing it. Because when I'm reading something, I get thoughts, and I recently started reading books, as I said, and I felt like, oh my God, this is like if I watch a video, I can't remember anything. But how come when I read a book, I can remember everything? And I have so much information in my mind now, and I have so many thoughts going through my head. And then there are like four lines, and I'm like, okay, this connected very much with me. Why did it connect? And I start thinking, and I highlight it, and I want to come back to it. Uh, so it's an emotional reaction that I feel when reading, a very strong emotional reaction of figuring out something.
Mm-hmm. No, it's fantastic. It's like I said, it's curious people who read a lot on the internet. But what I'm saying is, when you think about marketing, right?
Yeah.
Um, there's key people that if they use it, they can influence people, right?
Mm.
And like they're the connoisseurs, right? Like they're the like with you know, uh,
Mm.
like the Met Gala, for example, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
The,
Honestly, I don't know who are those people.
like Paul Graham, for example, one of those
Yes,
people, I
yes,
think,
yes. But I
you
don't know if
know,
I don't know how he makes highlights or if he makes highlights. But yes, he's a very good writer.
yeah, and people basically, yeah, it's writers, who are engaged on the internet, not like fiction writers, but like, so Morgan Housel, those people, like, people, bloggers, all this stuff.
Well, we can put Paul Graham on number one place. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, he would influence uh, a ton, and if you're gonna think about the largest market for this, who would that be? It's so funny that me and you are like building a very similar market. You're doing the highlights, but like the app that I'm building, I haven't shared the specifics of it, but I'm building like a notes app,
yeah.
like a competitor to like Notion and stuff. So it's very similar audience, right? And like the largest market for you would be university students, right?
Mm.
Or students in general,
Yeah.
high school and university, because those people are actively learning.
Students and writers, but students, man, yes. And
Yeah.
you can study medicine, you can study tech, you can study
Yep.
business, whatever you study. There are a lot of people who are studying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do this for you. Like the situation, right? But yeah, it's and what are their pains if you want to pinpoint them and like start to describe them, right? Like writers is like
Their pains,
the
I think, yeah, I think their pains is that it's very like sometimes it takes a lot of actions to copy something, paste it in something else, and then return to it, and it's not very structured, and you lose it and you forget about it.
yeah, copy pasting, keeping track. Loves this is a fantastic idea, man. Keeping track. Like definitely don't I'm not sharing this episode before it's released because anything that that's great. It's gonna have copycats, right?
Yeah.
So it's you want to establish and expand as fast as possible, right?
Mm.
Yeah, keeping track of all of this stuff. What else?
The pain points.
Yeah, copy pasting. Like it's just too bothersome, right? Copy pasting, storing it someplace, and
I would
then
assume,
yeah.
based on me, my two biggest pain points are it takes a lot of effort, let's say, to save something, and then it takes a tremendous amount of effort to keep it like structured.
Yeah, it's great.
And
So saving and structuring highlights, keeping track of all of it, copy
also,
pasting.
also on page, if I have to make like a paragraph, a highlight of a paragraph, if I want to save it now,
Mhm.
I have to bookmark the page, for example, or I need to create an Apple Note or Notion page, paste the link, then paste the paragraph, and I have to go on the page and Control F, like to search for it and
Mm,
go there.
yeah, on page navigation to the thing, to the highlight. Yeah.
With Colson.
Oh yeah. Okay. What is the magic trick? Like, right? So do you know Magnific?
No.
Uh, yeah, search for it, Magnific AI.
Yeah.
Uh, and if you see on their website, uh, they have this like Slido thing.
Mhm.
You've seen it in many places, but I think they're the first people who did this, where it's like a magic trick, right? You see
Yeah.
before and after, and you're like, no way, they did that. That is awesome. And the whole
Mhm.
website is this magic trick, where it's like before, after, and they show you what it does, and you're like,
Mhm.
I want this. Like you see the magic trick, you're like, wow, hell yeah, let's go. I need this. You know, if you're
Mhm.
gonna think of the magic trick for Horizon highlights, what would that be?
That would be right clicking, and having it saved.
But visually, like if you're gonna like investors or customer or whatever, you'd be like, hey, see, boom, and they're like, whoa, what is that?
It's the very quick workflow.
The
Click,
workflow.
highlight, close the page,
Mhm.
like whatever am I, click, it opens the page, it scrolls down to the highlight.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh, the navigation and also I think the multiple highlights in one place.
Yes.
Both those, you have like two magic tricks, which is great. The navigation. Uh,
Also the note, I personally started doing this because of the notes.
yeah. What do you mean?
When I highlight stuff, I
Uh-huh.
often forget to write my notes, like my thoughts about why I highlighted it. And if I can make it instantly,
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and exactly like having all the notes on the highlight say. Yeah, the navigation and the multiple highlights is more magical, but
okay,
like as a magic trick, but the notes is definitely a fantastic feature. Uh,
perfect.
who 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 do you think are like your competition? Like obviously there's the alternatives, which is like we were talking about. The alternatives is the pain points. But is there something I think Readwise is doing something like that, but
No,
theirs
there is
is
one, listen, there is one browser extension that lets you highlight on page,
Mhm.
but their browser extension is like for teams, like for business or whatever. And their highlights are bad because the whole page turns into like yellow backgrounds.
Mm.
I want this one in browsing.
All right. So there's like levels of products, right? Like there's the product, which is highlighting the internet.
Okay.
There's this one level up is the solution, right?
Okay.
And how would you describe the solution? Like, what are you solving for?
I am solving the difficulty of highlighting, I think, because as I said, it's hard to highlight something. It's actually impossible to highlight.
That's still the product. That's still the technical. The solution is what does that enable, right?
Ah,
Like
okay.
if you have everything you read highlighted, what are you enabling in terms of what could you do now that you couldn't do before?
Two things. The first is not lose my knowledge because
Uh-huh.
I am losing knowledge.
Okay. Retain more knowledge.
Okay. Yes, exactly.
Uh-huh.
And the second thing is not losing my thoughts because I am losing my thoughts. When I highlight
And
something, I forget about
yeah, and yeah, remember easily. Yeah, it's kind of the same stuff. So knowledge retention is like the solution. And then what lifestyle does that enable? If you know more, how does your lifestyle change?
it. Well, I become, I expand my mental horizons.
But what does that enable in terms of results in your life, right?
Think better, become better, and just be better at everything because I know more.
Yeah, you're more effective in at your job, at your
Exactly.
whatever,
Exactly.
at whatever you're researching, right? Or whatever you're highlighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in that domain, right? And what is the feeling that enables, right?
Satisfaction and like uh, I'm feeling better about myself as a person. I feel more like not clever, but what is the feeling? Comfort, actually.
Expand. Why do you feel more comfortable when you're more effective, when
Yeah,
you have better knowledge?
it's comfort because I uh, like I don't forget those things. I have those things. It's very easy for me to go back to those things. It's very easy to like reflect on my thoughts. It's very easy to reflect on my actions. Why did I highlight it? Um, it's very easy to feel like it's very comfortable to feel like this knowledge is here and it's not going anywhere. And I read something and I know why it triggered a strong emotional reaction to me. And I'm comfortable knowing that this will stay.
That's great. Uh, and finally, it's like the final boss of this question is the identity. Like if you're a person who has that control, right? You have this comfort of always being able to reflect on your influences, and who do you become then? Like what is the identity of that person? Like how do people see them, and what is their self-identity like, right?
I'm becoming like the best version of myself. And I'm also becoming better than others.
Hmm. Yeah, you're competitive, better version of yourself. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So how would people judge the quality of this product?
Mm, if they can highlight whatever they want. Like I highlight something, but it doesn't highlight. What happens then?
Hmm. Exactly. Can I highlight a video? Can I highlight a picture?
Maybe yes. Sometimes there are bugs. I mean, it's very early in development where I highlight some text and it doesn't highlight. But yeah, it's the quality of the highlight. Can I highlight what I want?
Mhm. Can I highlight what I want? Yeah. And what what is a deal breaker, right? Like what are things that they are willing to tolerate not to be highlighted, and what are things that are definitely a deal breaker.
What do you mean?
Like,
Text,
let's
yes. The deal breaker is if I can't highlight some text.
text. Text is like number one. If I can see text, I should be able to highlight.
Anywhere on any element on whatever the website is, I should be able to.
Okay. So other than highlighting, what else are they gonna be judging?
Ask the question again, other than highlighting, what
It's a
else?
quality factors question. So like imagine you're gonna go and buy this, right?
Yeah.
And the landing page is perfect. It tells you everything you need to know, right?
Okay.
Uh, how are you gonna be judging the quality of this product? Like what are things that are being like, yeah, oh, great, they have that? Awesome. +1 in quality. Oh, it does this? +1 in quality. We're trying to identify what these quality factors are. And then the
No.
reverse side of this is, doesn't do that. No, I'm not gonna buy it. Shit. So it's
Well, I think highlights go hand in hand with notes. This is the first biggest one thing after highlighting.
is what?
Notes, adding a
Uh-huh.
note to the highlight. This is the
Mhm.
first thing. The second thing is I'm able to browse through my highlights. When I click, it directly goes to the page and scrolls to the highlight. So I know where it is. Um, First, just for a second, we are now thinking only solo, right? We're not thinking about network.
Yeah, I guess the like V1 of the product, right?
Okay, okay, only solo. Yeah, highlighting, noting, being able to browse my highlights, being able to delete highlights easily. Um, my highlights not breaking my browsing experience. I don't want to like
Yeah, you want to be
make.
able to enable it or disable it easily, maybe.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Um, Actually, that's a good point. Adding a highlight and then making it not visible on the page, but still having the highlight.
Yeah. Yeah, the toggle. Yeah, and then also trying to think with you. Right? I had one. Browse and delete, navigation and scrolling, adding and managing notes, right?
Yeah.
Uh, highlighting options, I guess, text, images, videos, text is minimum, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then the toggle, privacy is another one. People are gonna like care about. How do you handle that?
Now, the saving of the highlights happens in the following way. You save your highlights, they are saved in your browser storage, so they are local to your laptop. If you want, you can sync them with the database so you don't lose them.
Mhm. And then that database, like, is it what's it called? Encrypted? Can you see what I highlight in my
I
notes
can,
or
I can, yes.
yeah, and I will.
And I will. And I will. Actually, yeah, encrypting the highlights so that I can't read them in the database.
Yeah, that's just a way to make it, offer more insurance. You don't have to do it. It definitely adds, overhead, but I think that is something that people want to know. If
Yeah,
you know, and it is a differentiating factor if you can say it's encrypted, and by the way, these other guys not encrypted. You know,
mm, yeah, 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 yeah,
just thinking about that.
yeah,
And then there's all the other stuff. HIPAA compliant, SOC 2, all this stuff. You can do that. All right. When is so in storytelling, there's a, a principle called the inciting incident. So like in like Super Mario Brothers, when Bowser comes and captures Peach, that is the inciting incident, right? That makes Mario stop the quest to rescue Peach, right?
yeah.
So what is that inciting incident for your customer? Like when is the moment that they're like, God damn it, I need to find this solution to this problem?
When they read something, it triggers a strong emotional reaction to them, but they have to do 100 things to to save it, and they lose it because they don't do it.
Oh, so it's like at moment of inspiration, like they read something, they're like, ah, I need to save it or something like, and they're like, God damn, yeah. When they read, let's say somebody's a little more advanced in this, right?
Mm.
Uh, how are they doing this without this solution?
They're bookmarking their like they're opening Notion, let's say. They're opening a different application,
Uh-huh.
then they're pasting the link, like they're copy pasting the link, and they are copy pasting the set text. I guess this is what
Okay.
I'm doing.
Oh, they're copy pasting the link and the text and storing it in a note,
Yeah,
and
and
then
sometimes I also like I read something and I screenshot it. I screenshot it and add it in a note and write something on it. Or
okay,
but
copy
a lot
pasting
of the
link.
times I'm just losing what I'm getting inspired by.
But is there a moment in that workflow? I guess it's when you're like, ah, shit, I didn't save it. Like
Yes,
when you remember, like, oh, I read this one thing, and you go check your Notion or your Notes app or whatever, or you check your screenshots folder, and you're like, God damn it, where the hell is this?
yes.
Yeah.
It actually happened with an essay of Paul Graham.
Uh-huh.
A guy shared it with me. It
Uh-huh.
was called "Stuff Not to Say Online" or something like that, and I lost it.
Uh-huh.
And then I had to search for it, and I spent like 5 minutes
Yeah.
searching in my X account and then
Uh,
finding it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I guess that is definitely, yeah, losing. Yeah, when you lose it, like I think that's the
Yes, when you lose
the
it.
highest point of, God damn it, is there a fucking solution? Or if someone shows up, Magic Genie shows up at that point and be like, hey, you can never lose anything ever again. He
Yeah.
Because in sales, what you want to do is you want to remind them of this moment if you can, to
Mhm.
agitate that emotion again, and then insert your product,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, losing a highlight.
And wanting to prove a point and you know it's correct, but you can't find it because you lost it.
Uh, yeah, you're improving a point. Oh, yeah, all of these it's good to have this program running in the back of your mind. Is like, when is the peak moments that I can come and insert, and it will be like instant whatever, because
And
you can
also
always, yeah.
when I'm writing an article and I know I want to reference to something, but I can't find it, so I lost it. Or like because I want to 0 to 1, for example, I read it and I highlight a lot of stuff. But now that I go back to my highlights and I want to write an article on it, I forgot what I think. And now I have to read it all over again.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Hey, all right. If everything went right, what does this business look like at peak uh, growth?
Oh, I don't think I can answer for this because when it grows, new ideas come. But in for me, it is a perfectly working browser extension that can highlight anything. A platform on which I can browse my highlights and browse like add notes to those highlights, move them left
Mhm.
and right, or like group them in a way. And also, I want another motivation I had for this is when I write articles. Like this is kind of stupid. It doesn't connect. I constantly redesign my website. Ignore this. But when I write, I am struggling putting references, and I want in my
Mhm.
articles to put references. I want to expand my thoughts on something, right? So it is also a platform in which you can have your own blog.
Oh, okay. Uh, but with the browser extension, I feel like there needs to be some sort of mobile way of
Oh
doing this.
yes, yes, I thought about this as well. I still don't know how that works on mobile, but you need to be able to do it on mobile as well. The
Yeah,
same
because I
way.
feel like the share, how sometimes like when you go on whatever, there's this button, the
Oh,
square
yes,
with the top
yeah,
button. I think there's a way to make it for an app. I don't know the API for that.
Here, this cut
Uh-huh.
copy autofill and so on. I think there is an API to add a button here. So yeah, but
Something. Yeah, you need to figure it out.
yeah, but it needs to be on the phone as well. It's like
Right.
that's a deal breaker if I can't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Because
actually, no, it's not a deal breaker, but it brings like if wow, if I can now, if I see a website and because a lot of the times my thoughts happen on my phone. If I
exactly.
can see a website and it says you have the browser extension, you have it on the phone, you can highlight anything on the internet. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
if it's on your PC or on your phone. I'm buying it right now. If I
Yeah.
see it, I'm buying.
Oh, for sure. That's something you need to think about. This is not peak growth. This is something you need to figure it out for V1.
Yeah.
Maybe not V1, V2. Like V1 might be just just to see if people want it. I'm pretty sure people, but but if you can launch it V1 with the mobile thing, it will take over, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially because the difficulty becomes a mode of
Mhm.
competition,
Mhm.
you know, because if you just do the browser extension, a copycat would be like, oh, I can do a browser extension. But if you do browser extension plus mobile, now all these fucking amateurs can't
Yeah.
compete.
You remember with Levels when he created Face AI
Yeah.
and a company created a mobile app and they made millions. They made a lot of money with him.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
But he,
exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. What does a 5-star experience look like?
Again, highlighting everything, being able to
Everything works, yeah.
everything works. Everything works. There are no bugs.
Yeah, everything works, no bugs. What does a 6-star experience look like?
What do you mean?
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What is it like? If a 5-star experience is everything works, no bugs,
Yeah.
exactly how you described it.
Well, the 6 stars is like being feeling premium, I guess, and
What? Yeah.
feeling.
What is that feeling? What What are the signs of it being premium?
Well, again, everything works, but everything also looks good.
And what is a 7-star experience? If a 6-star experience is everything works and looks good, what is a 7-star experience?
More features that I didn't know I wanted, but now I like them and I'm using them.
Like what?
Like this is something that I really want to be able to do. When I write an article, I want to like have a way to put my thoughts into an article, but don't have a whole article. Like write something that directly is linked to this highlight and note, for example.
Uh-huh. Bro, definitely when we both launch, we need to collaborate on something because I'm thinking of an idea of
Yeah.
doing that for a writing app. But yeah, basically linking the highlights automatically with whatever you're
And
writing
the
as an
highlights.
article.
The seventh star, for example, might be to like make a way to, for example, screenshot it in a good way and create an image out of it of a good way, or just make it easy for me to share my highlight and notes.
Uh, okay, supervillain Dennis, right? There's a supervillain out there, and it's
Okay.
and it's supervillain Dennis, and he's 100 times better than you.
Okay.
Describe that.
You mean in the context of Horizon or what?
In the context of Horizon and in the context of just your identity. Like this person is just better than you. Like this is like a business workshop, but you can expand it. I don't mind, but the supervillain, he's 100 times better than you. Describe that.
Bad actions,
Hmm?
bad intentions.
No, no, just supervillain. Like he's he's never gonna collaborate with you. Let's put it that way. You know, it's just he's just 100 times better, right?
Well, he's going to ship faster. He's going to ship without bugs. He's going to ship making it look good. Like he's going to get, if I have customers, he will be able to steal them from me.
Hmm.
He will not like totally disregard me.
Hmm.
Um, Features that I have, he will build and he will make better, I guess.
Okay. Uh, if you can do something for the next 10 years that'll make you better than this person, this supervillain, what would that thing be?
I would create a community of people who believe like I would try to wait. I'm thinking about a person. Do I have to think about a person or his business?
You know, whatever comes to you. This is just a freestyle thinking exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to craft my own community,
Hmm.
my followers. I will create a cult, and my cult does not like that guy.
Okay. And how's your cult gonna make you shit faster with no bugs, make your stuff look great, and
Oh,
make you unignorable?
unignorable. Well, it will prove that we can win against this very good guy that is very bad and super villain. And proving we can win will motivate me, and I will be feeling I have to deliver to those guys that are following me. And it is my responsibility of keeping them happy and not fucking it up.
Okay, so it's like the responsibility of
Yes,
having
but also
people
in my
look up to
cult,
you.
in my cult, the people want to help, and they are developers, and and they want to work with me, and we actually start a company. And
I
that
like it. So
guy,
it's like open source a little bit.
yeah, it is open source, and people like it, and people are contributing to it.
I can. This is fantastic. Uh,
But if it's open source, they
uh
will not pay for it. So they can be appointed as my developers, and they can feel happy that I'm giving them attention, I guess.
I like it. There's no way of having like some sort of like hybrid model where it's like open source but with like revenue share depending on contribution or something. Like,
I don't know. Contractors work. I am fine hiring contractors to work on the app.
yeah. Or maybe you can just, gift contributors in the open source thing, you know?
Yeah,
Because
they can get it for free if they are helping. Yes, actually,
uh,
that's good.
yeah, you could just, find them out and just send them money, be like, thanks, buddy. You know, that'd be great. Uh, I like. Uh, so, have you seen the movie Spartacus?
Which movie?
Spartacus.
Spartacus. Yes, I think Spartacus.
Yeah.
Uh,
There's a show that was recent, but there was an old movie too.
no, I haven't seen this movie actually.
Anyways, so do you know the story of Spartacus? Do you know who Spartacus was?
Is that the guy from the Gladiator? Like,
Yeah, he's basically the gladiator king, and he freed all the gladiators and raised an army of gladiators, and they revolted against the Roman Empire. But then, they didn't win that war. And there's a scene in the movie where the Romans say, "Reveal to us who Spartacus is, and we will spare the army," right? And one person in the army steps forward and says, "I am Spartacus," and then another
Ah,
person
yeah,
steps and is like, "I am Spartacus," and the whole army says, "I am Spartacus," right?
yeah.
And it's like this idea of, they were all willing to sacrifice their lives for this idea of freedom, or this ideal of freedom, right? And it's if you were to recreate that scene, right? And it's like, I am Dennis, and everybody's Dennis. What is this idea that you represent that people are willing to follow as well?
That idea is you can do anything. And not only you can do anything, but you're entitled to anything and you can get anything. And it doesn't matter if you're like a common folk or whoever you are, you can do and achieve things just as much as the entitled guy can. And it doesn't matter if you are in a bad environment, if it doesn't matter if you are um, like all the odds are against you, you are you're the king of your own fate, man. I don't know.
Right?
The
It's great.
world is yours. Yeah, the world belongs to you, and it's yours for the taking.
I mean, it's like Scarface.
Is that from Scarface?
The world is yours. You haven't seen Scarface movie?
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember. Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. When he sees the blimp,
Yeah,
and,
the
and it's exactly this idea, right? When he's like, uh, he's like, talking to his friend Manny, and he's like, "What do you want, man?" Like, the world, Chico, and everything in. Uh,
yeah, you can do anything. I really believe you can do anything.
I love it. Describe the most genius artist.
The most genius artist. Okay, let's take Tarantino for example.
Uh-huh.
All his movies are perfect. Anything he does, every single second of his movies is perfect. Like for his art, I don't know much about him. And the most genius artist, in my opinion, is one who can constantly achieve perfection with anything he does.
Why do you think his every second of their art of his art is perfect?
It is, I mean, it's very layered. Um, like the dialogues, the music, the like the story of the movies, how they are shot. Um,
But these
through
are
the
all techniques. The result is, I think, the captivation, right? You're captivated for the entire time.
yes, yes, yes.
You know how you achieve that is kind of what you're saying. If you can achieve that captivation, that complete capture of attention, right, for a long period of time, is kind of.
It's novelty as well. I mean, when you see Wes Anderson as well, when you see a movie of Wes Anderson, you know it's a movie from Wes Anderson. When you see a movie from Tarantino, you know it's his movie. When you read an article from Paul Graham, you know that it's his article, and you envision this person talking to you, and you know how he looks, you know his facial expressions. It's novelty, and yeah,
Yeah, right. uh, you
it
have
also
that you have that with your writing too. Like, you have this way, this cadence, like you're saying. Like, sometimes I read a thing and I'm like, that's my man, cool. Like that, and you have that, and it's it's interesting that you resonate with that in other people too. Uh, what is the most genius artist duo?
The first one was how like Theo had Confinity and X, like Alone had X, and they combined this and created PayPal, right?
Mhm.
I think this was very genius. They were competitors, and they were both very like very good in their space, but they decided like to merge powers
Mhm.
and change the whole world, like with PayPal. And there is a very strong saying in his book. He's saying we were just some nerds who wanted to create a non-government managed digital currency,
Mhm.
and they had this vision and they combined it, and then they created the PayPal mafia, or I guess so. And everything that we are using on the internet is basically owned by these guys. It's actually insane how much influence those people. They are not only two. I mean,
Mhm.
how much influence those people have from the internet. We all know the story, the PayPal mafia, and so on.
Yeah.
But if we actually think about it, LinkedIn, YouTube,
Mhm. Mhm.
PayPal, all those
Twitter.
socially.
Yeah.
Peter, yes, Peter was one of the first investors in Facebook. Everything we are using, those people created.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Uh, what do you think was the secret sauce to all of that? Like, what? Why do you think they
Thinking,
had?
being able to think freely. This is what this is. I think this is the most important thing in management, in running a business, in being creative, is to be able to really think, because a lot of people think they can think, and a lot of times I think for myself, but I'm not. Being able to truly be able to think on something and come up with original thoughts about this thing is the secret sauce, in my opinion.
I like it a lot. Um, if you had a hat with a logo on it, right?
Yeah.
Your logo that represents these ideas of like free thought, owning your fate, you know, uh, and this kind of novel thinking, right?
Yeah.
Why would anyone want to wear a hat like that? Like, what would they be representing?
They would be representing freedom and power.
All right, bro. We're almost at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your next three steps?
Well, my next three steps are to for business, or for like for in general.
For Horizon.
For the Horizon, for Horizon MD, my next steps would be to create the POC, like not POC, but version one, release it, get some users, uh, possibly some paid users as well, make a post blow up about it, get some followers from it so that they're quality leads,
Yeah.
market to those people and market to more people, build it, use it myself.
That's great, bro. And do you have your drawing app again?
Okay, my drawing up.
Yeah. Open it to blank page
Okay.
and the same exercise. Imagine your life at peak impact. I want you to draw your impact at that moment. Hey, what is that?
A lot of impact in a lot of different areas.
So like this, like multimodal, multifaceted
Yeah, and it
impact.
connects again to my belief that you can do anything.
Yeah, it's great, bro. That's it. That's the end of that's the end of the workshop, bro.